Would love to know more about what you do as a doctor and how you got into Instagram. So maybe the first question I have is, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Gia. I'm currently a family doctor practicing in Canada. I actually just completed my residency training in family medicine this July. And I would say it's been a pretty crazy year with the COVID, but I guess we are all coping in different ways. Currently, I'm actually spending more time in terms of like reading books, also learning about investing. The other thing, interestingly, that I started during pandemic is starting a YouTube channel and also starting TikTok.
What does a family doctor do and how are they different from other types of doctors?
Family doctor plays like a gateway role for a lot of people because we're the one actually following the patients throughout their lifelong journey and also referring them to specialists if they actually require any additional care or investigations. And also, I think we play a very important role in terms of advocating for the health of our patients too.
What kind of patients do you normally see?
You can literally see anyone for any different things that you can possibly imagine. There are days when I be seeing a lot of young middle-aged people, but oftentimes I also see a lot of elderly people as well. There are also infants who come in for well baby checks, as well as children. And I actually really enjoy the variety because my practice is not limited to any specific population. And I can pretty much provide care to anyone who comes in to my office for any different complaints.
What's it been like working during COVID?
So I will say it's been like a roller coaster. When the COVID first started back in March, in North America, I was still a resident back then. And I've actually witnessed a lot of different changes that was happening so rapidly as COVID emerged. So for instance, the way we practice medicine changed significantly. Prior to COVID, what we are used to was actually bringing in the patient to the clinic and then actually doing a thorough examination and coming up with the plan. But after COVID happened and we started doing telemedicine, phone visit, which I also witnessed a lot of financial stress that the other physicians and surgeons were going through as well. Many people went through that stress of not having enough volume, and therefore I actually do know some of my colleagues who had to fire their employees or even close down their clinics for temporary period of time. And also there's other stress of trying to stay on top of all the emerging evidence. And I felt like no matter how much time I actually spent learning about it, it just didn't feel enough. So that was pretty much how my residency kind of wrapped up. And as soon as I started working as a staff physician, so as a family doctor after completing a residency training, I actually worked a lot in the beginning in the hospitals as a hospitalist. So basically a hospitalist, what we do is we actually take care of any patients who are admitted in the hospital. And we are the most responsible physician, making sure that they are doing well while they are admitted, and then make sure to send them back home once they start feeling better. And I would say it felt very rewarding to be working in a hospital because I knew that that was a place that needed me the most. So no matter how long the work hours was, I felt like I was, making a little bit of difference in fight against the COVID. I feel like the real fear really hit me when I first managed my real COVID patient. Because I feel like no matter how much you read about it and educate yourself, it really is different when you're actually dealing with someone in real who actually has COVID. So I still remember my first COVID patient when I first started that day. The nurse on the floor, she asked me whether I should volunteer to look after the patient. And I'm like, well, I never been informed about this. And I didn't even know that I was going to be managing a COVID patient. And that's when I, had a little bit of shock in me, that though I didn't really try expressing it outside. And she also noted that the patient wasn't doing that well, so requiring more oxygen and also being more drowsy. So before I went in, I remember countless times of just repeating the correct order of putting on PPEs and taking off PPEs. And I felt so vulnerable going into that negative pressure room to actually look after this patient. Regardless of how many layers of PPEs I actually had it on. So I went in and the patient, of course, was pretty drowsy. I tried talking to her. She didn't really respond. And on my way out, I kept praying to God that, she can at least make it for another day because she was already maxed out on these oxygen that she was getting. And if she were to deteriorate, I knew that she had to go to intensive care unit. And it was also very frustrating in the other side that there's no real cure or treatment available. So there's really not much I could possibly do or make a difference in how she was doing. That was like a constant dilemma I think many healthcare providers have when you're, looking after COVID patients, because there's nothing much that we can do once they actually come into the hospital other than making sure that they're comfortable and hoping that they actually get better with time.
How do you stay positive during these challenging times?
Personally, I would say for me, I really try my best to stay connected with people that are precious to me, including my family members and my friends. Doesn't have to be necessarily in person, but I've been regularly, catching up with them virtually, trying to listen to how their days are going. And I think that really helps me realize that I'm not the only one going through this, and we are kind of all in this together. And that has definitely kind of helped me in terms of like going through my days. The other thing is like when you think about it, I mean, life will not be full of good memories only. There's always going to be like down and up for everyone. So I would say if you can just like see this more as like a short snapshot in a lifetime and actually make use of this opportunity to like improve yourself, I think it may be like one of the opportunity for you to become a better person. So for me personally, like I said before, so after COVID started, I picked up on new hobbies that I always kind of like wanted to pick up, but never really had a chance to. So like starting a YouTube channel, reading more about like self-development books, and also learning about investing. I think that has really helped me in terms of staying busy. Even during the time when I had more free times when the COVID first started. And I would say the last thing is like people to talk about gratitude exercise. And I think that actually really helped me stay positive too. So like at the end of the day, just taking like 5 or a few minutes just to think about, how your day went. And, just think about maybe 3 little things that you feel happy about. I think that will help you realize that, things could have been even worse. And potentially the time that we are going through right now may not necessarily be the worst time.
So you mentioned a little bit about YouTube, but you also have Instagram and TikTok. Can you talk a little bit about how you got started there?
The reason why I started both is actually because of my younger sister. And it kind of looked like a great social platform for me to just share my interests, snapshots of my day, as well as traveling. Because I do love traveling, and therefore I thought maybe I can just share my interests, and therefore I started more for like my personal use and more for my fun.
And I've definitely seen some of your videos. They're really good. Can you walk us through like how did you come up with it?
Also, time for TikTok. It's actually a little bit easier because there are so many people out there with so many creative ideas that they post great videos. And I just end up following them. And as I scroll through, I think some of the ideas kind of come into my mind. I'm like, oh, maybe I can make use of that. Or maybe I will steal some of their ideas and make it into more of my version.
So how can people follow you on Instagram and TikTok?
So you can find me on my Instagram, just say with Dr. J. I also use the same username for TikTok as well as YouTube channel.
Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you so much for sharing about your experience and also your story.
No, not a problem at all. It was a pleasure for me too. Thank you so much for having me here, Henry.